Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for all you guys returning, and welcome to the channel for all you new guys. I am Shooter. Recently I put up a poll on what video y'all wanted first. Two of the options are tied at the time of recording, so I don't know which one I'm gonna do next. We will see. But the video, or the option that was in the lead at the time of recording this, is the Xenomorph Queen against the Giganotosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be going over this video. Who would win a fight between those two, obviously. So I'm not going to do much yapping here. Let's just get right into the fight. And yeah, this is probably not going to be a long one because this is a pretty one-sided fight. Starting off with the Xenomorph Queen. The Xenomorph Queen should obviously upscale any normal Xenomorph, which would put them at worst around the building level ranges, as, you know, regular old Xenomorphs can pretty consistently, very casually perform like wall level stuff, like really easily killing humans, breaking through walls, etc. And they have some decent small building metas by like taking pretty little damage from guns and some explosion feats, if I can speak. Golly. They have a lot of like consistent small wall plus to small building level stuff. I personally have them at small building level. And as for speed, your average Xenomorph can run at usually like superhuman to very, very low subsonic speeds. Their scaling for their travel speed's kind of weird, as there's a few inconsistencies of them being really, really fast and other times of them being a bit slower. It's strange, but most of the time they should be somewhere between superhuman and very, very low subsonic. I personally have them on like superhuman plus though. And yeah, the Xenomorph Queen should basically just upscale any normal Xenomorph. So obviously she can one-shot normal Xenomorphs, which gets her to around the building levels to building plus ranges. And she should generally just be around the same superhuman plus speed ranges. As for reaction time for Xenomorphs is kind of strange, but at best you can argue them to around supersonic, as they can sometimes react to bullets, although I will say it's only like really low supersonic, and they would more consistently be in the subsonic ranges of speed. But considering what we have them up against, I'm going to give them the low supersonic scaling for their speed. And yeah, just the Xenomorph Queen obviously should scale relative to this, so she would be in the same range. So yeah, Xenomorph Queen overall, off upscaling, all the normal Xenomorphs should be around the building to building plus level ranges at best, and around the superhuman level ranges of travel speed, and between high subsonic and low supersonic in her reaction time and whatnot. For some higher ends, there is one Xenomorph Queen that has a large building level durability feat, which is a pretty solid one. It only gets to like the lower to mid level, like kind of ranges of large building level, but large building nonetheless. So you can argue the Xenomorph Queens to be in the lower ranges of large building level to potentially just baseline large building level. As for abilities, they're pretty tame. A Xenomorph Queen obviously has like acid blood, and that's the only real main ability that's going to matter here, as we're restricting this to 1 against 1. She won't have help from any normal other Xenomorphs. So yeah, ability wise, she's the only thing that really matters here is the acid blood, which is quite deadly. It can melt metal, which obviously is crazy, but it's the only ability that's really worth noting here. And then but how does the Giga compare? And For starters, the Giganotosaurus is the strongest thing in the Jurassic universe that isn't a Mosasaurus. This is pretty consistent, just off statements and feats. The Giga is quite a bit stronger than Rexy, who is debatably the strongest Rex in the verse. The only Rex that you can argue is stronger than her is Ember, which, I mean, the only way Ember is stronger is if you believe that the statements that imply Ember is stronger, and if you don't use those, then Rexy is the strongest Rex in the verse, and should be stronger than pretty much everything else that isn't the Giga. Like, she'd be stronger than, the Spino, the Indom, any of the other Rexes, pretty much just everything that isn't a Mosasaurus and the Giganotosaurus. But at worst, she'd be relative to Ember. Either way, Giga is way stronger than her, and if there's only one thing that's kind of relative to Rexy, that being Ember, with Ember being debatably a little bit stronger than Rexy, the Giga would be quite a bit stronger than pretty much everything that isn't Ember, and even then, the Giga should be a decent bit stronger than Ember regardless, even if you think Ember is stronger than Rexy. This is important, as this basically just means we can upscale the Giga off of every other feat in the Jurassic franchise. So now we have to start talking about other feats of other things that are weaker than the Giga. The first one is the Spinosaurus's wall-busting feat, which gets to around building level. The Indominus Rex's wall-busting feat when it breaks into the aviary, which gets to around large building level. Buck's feat of destroying a bus. I've heard a lot of debate as to whether where this scales, but generally it usually gets to around the building plus ranges, though there are large building calcs for it. They are quite old and not many people use them anymore. I haven't been explained why. No one's really shown me debunks for it. I can't find any debunks for it either. And I haven't found any calcs that get it below building plus. So there are building plus calcs for it, and there are large building calcs for Buck's feat of destroying a bus. I don't know at this point. No one's really explained it. But anyway, the Battle at Big Rock Allosaurus has a building plus level feat of breaking a camper. Toro has a small building plus feat of taking a explosion, as well as taking hits from Rexy. Rexy has a very, very casual small building plus feat back in the first Jurassic Park movie, where she breaks down a huge tree, like, with no effort whatsoever, and Rexy gets way stronger than she was at that time. What else? The Tarbosaurus has small building and building feats. What else? I'm drawing a blank here, I apologize. Overall though, there's lots of different really casual small building plus to building plus feats for all, like, mid tiers, and then some of the other high tiers have, like, large building to large building plus feats as well. Another really impressive feat is also from the Indominus Rex, is when it gets bit by the Mosasaurus. The Mosasaurus off size in this instance, it's just by moving it should be just outputting large building plus level force, and once you account for the speed it was falling down and just its bite force on top of that, and just all the other just math, the different things stacking up the force, increasing the force of the Mosasaurus falling on the Indom, that usually gets to around large building plus at a bare minimum, and at best is low city block level. Obviously that scaling is for a weakened Indominus Rex, which is weaker than Prime Rexy, whom got pimp slapped by a base Giga. So yeah. And if you wanna use the max possible estimates for how strong and how big the Mosasaurus is, then this would get closer to the large town level ranges, unironically. There's also a really hyperbolic, stupid calc for the Indominus Rex's aviary busting feat that also gets to town level. It's really stupid, and I wouldn't suggest using it, nor would I suggest using town level Mosasaurus to argue that the Giga is large town level. But like, if you want to do that, like, go ahead, I guess. I'm not going to be using it for this video though. But yeah, just generally speaking, the Giga, by upscaling everything else in the franchise, should get to around the large building plus ranges at worst, and at best would be around city block level. And if you want to wank the Giga out of its mind, then you can argue large town, which is really stupid, and I'm not doing it for this video, by the way. As for speed, the Giga is pretty consistently equal to Rexy. Rexy, when out of her prime, has a stated top speed of 32 miles an hour. Rexy during Dominion is prime Rexy, so she should reasonably be faster than that. And the Giga is pretty consistently just shown to be equal to Rexy in terms of speed, so the Giga should be in the relatively same speed range. And as for reaction time, both the Indom and Rexy can react to Raptors, which have a on-screen 120 plus mile per hour travel speed feat. And again, the Indom and Rexy can react to them when the Indom is nerfed and Rexy is severely out of prime. So yeah, that's just kind of just blatant subsonic scaling for reaction time and whatnot, as well as combat speed for them. And the Giga should obviously scale to that very, very easily, as it's an out of prime Rexy and a nerfed Indom that have that scaling. And you can kind of argue that same speed scaling for the Spinosaurus, especially if you think that the Sabertooth or Smilodon, whatever you want to call it, is equal to Raptors in terms of speed, which is really stupid in my opinion. But I mean, if you want to argue that, you can argue that. And if you want to be really crazy with Jurassic speed scaling, which I don't do this, by the way, don't use this scaling, it's really dumb. But off the Brad's using bullets and bullcrap nonsense, you can kind of argue them to high subsonic reaction time, which is really dumb. Don't do that. But yeah, you can, bro, if you want to be weird. So kind of just as a recap for both of them, the Xenomorph Queen should be somewhere between building plus and large building level, large building at best. Travel speed wise should be around superhuman plus, and reaction time wise should be around the high subsonic to low supersonic ranges. The Giga would be at worst large building plus to potentially as high as large city block level at a high end. And if you want to really wank the Giga to really stupid degrees, which you should not do, don't do this, but you can wank it to freaking large town level, which don't do again. And speed wise, it should be around the superhuman plus ranges of travel speed, and in terms of reaction time, it should be in the low subsonic to just baseline subsonic ranges. So and in terms of abilities, the Giga has some surprisingly good heat resistance, and I mean, it's a Giganotosaurus. Beyond that, it doesn't really have anything. And yeah, that being said, who do I think would win? And the answer is the Giganotosaurus would win really easily. Its bare minimums are higher than the Xenomorph's highest ends you can argue it to, at least consistently at least. And the Giga has like much higher arguments that are also relatively consistent, and that you can argue are really consistent. That would suggest that the Giga can just one-shot the Xenomorph unironically. And if you want to really highball them, then the Giga would send the Xenomorph Queen into the stratosphere. Speed-wise, the Giga, in terms of travel speed, is faster. Reaction time-wise, it would be slower, though, which doesn't really matter, like, at all, because the Giga is way more durable, and it's stronger by quite a lot, both AP-wise and lifting strength-wise, because, FYI, the Giga can literally shove around Dreadnoughtus, which, off their on-screen calc size, can get to, like, over 700 tons, unironically, which is really crazy lifting strength. So, yeah, the Giga kind of would just pimp slap the Xenomorph Queen. He could unironically, like, pick it up and, like, throw it across, like, an entire town. Like, if you want, like, an example of, like, how big the strength gap is, the Giga would kind of just slam the Xenomorph Queen really badly, and there's not much it can really do. And for any of you who wants to say, oh, the acid blood would kill the Giga, for the acid blood to do anything, the Giga has to hurt the Xenomorph Queen first, and for it to actually be capable of doing critical damage to the Giga has to do really critical damage to the Xenomorph Queen first, meaning, sure, you can argue that maybe the acid could maybe kill the Giga, maybe, but, like, it's not gonna kill the Giga before the Giga just rips the Xenomorph Queen in half, or just throws it. Like, the Giga doesn't necessarily have to worry about the acid blood to begin with if it just picks the Xenomorph Queen up and just slings it around everywhere. Like, if it just throws the Giga, or if it just throws the Xenomorph Queen, then the Xenomorph Queen will just die and it won't get hit with the acid blood to begin with. So, just, yeah. The Giga bodies. I actually have a really funny video that will work. I'll show it to you guys real quick. This is basically what would happen if the Giga fought the Xenomorph Queen. And in this video, pretend that the Indominus Rex in this video is the Xenomorph Queen, okay?
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.